And so I found Richard Hart on YouTube one day by chance, and everything he said touched me.
My name is Lindsay Tracy. I work with Viver Finance, and I'm from Albany, New York.
Adam Bogosian. I'm from Albany, New York.
My name is Brian. I go by Hex Machina online.
So my name is Matt Kelly. I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hex has given me a great deal more hope than I ever had for being financially set in my life.
HEX gave me hope for the future for myself, my children, for my financial stability, and that meant everything to me.
I've set up my children, and I'm probably going to be retiring a whole lot sooner than I ever thought possible.
The money is great, but what's important is the time that you have, not having to go to work every day, not having responsibilities that you don't want to create for yourself.
So my name is Matt Kelly. I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Before HEX, I was a business owner, still am. Started from the bottom, now I'm here. But it was a lot of work, man. A lot of work. And again, finding this crypto has made things so much easier. To sit back, live my life, do what I gotta do. And I got this passive income, this little employee that works for me and just wants to make my life better, right? So, but yeah, I came from the streets, man, started from the bottom, dude. I wanna share that with everyone else, There's a lot of people out there that don't know where to go and they need help, especially with the USD inflation. So we gotta stick together, and the Hexican network has been very embracing with that. And I just wanna see this thing grow and share the love. So before HEX, I always was a business owner at a young age. I'm now 40 years old, doxing myself. But at 21, I had my first company. And it was a lot of work, trying to find staff that live the same passion for your company as you did, right? And then I saw everyone on YouTube making money with crypto. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong here? I'm missing out on this train. And I got with some of the big influencers that we all know, and I'm not gonna name names because they're wrecking people on a daily basis, just like they wrecked me, right? Had a little bit of money to throw into it, which is a lot for most people. But for me, being a business owner, I was like, this is gonna be great for the balance sheet of my company. And then I got into the degenerate disease of gambling in crypto, leverage trading, right? It looks awesome when you see these YouTube guys like, oh, I just 100x my money in 1 hour. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? So I got into leverage trading, and it's just like gambling because they let you win a little bit, and then all of a sudden this bot comes in and just liquidates you. No matter if you're long or short, you are getting liquidated because they make money when you lose. So finally I found Richard on YouTube, and it changed my life. I could sleep at night, I could stake my money and chill, bro. And that's a real thing. So a lot of people are getting wrecked, and these YouTube influencers are not taking any blowback from that, right? They still do their thing, no matter if you just lost your kid's college fund, they're still doing new streams, right? So we're vicious. Why are we vicious? Because we love what we're doing. We're protective of HEX like some people are for their children. Why? Because it's done such great things for us. We're proud of the growth, right? And we want to bring more people into that. I really feel that Hexicans, out of all the other coins out there, have this distinctive characteristic about them that is an honest heart, to be a true human being, to love people, to help people, and just do the right thing. And so it's so crazy, all the HEX meetups I've done, every person I've met here has become like a long-term friend, right? Like you just have that instant bond. And it's because we're different, straight up. And I hope that we find more people like-minded like that. This thing is gonna go to the moon. So if there's anything I could say about this coin, is that it is absolutely 100% real. There's no scam in this. I mean, I'm one guy that will literally sniff out a scheme from a mile away, and there's nothing in this coin that has caused any red flags. It does what it does. It always will do what it does. And if you're patient and you can hang on to HEX, I'm gonna tell you right now, You guys, no matter how much you have invested into it, will be well off, at least from a year from now. So just hang in there, close your eyes, don't feel every dip. It's in the game. We've heard it 1,000 times. Just be patient and buy the effing dip.
Hello and welcome here to my YouTube channel HEX, and you saw it here already. We have Zombie Miner in the house, and he texted me. He said that he has some exciting news to share, and that's why with no further ado, let's bring up the crew that I have here invited today to talk about an exciting cryptocurrency ecosystem. I like to call it the HEX info ecosystem. So with no further ado, let's bring them up. Zombie Miner, Fat Sammy, and Pulse Dojo. How are you doing, guys?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
How you doing, guys? Good to be here.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. And Zombie Miner, you approached me and I was so happy to have you here on the stream because about 2 years ago, we got to know each other for the first time. You supported us, the Crypto Sparbuch team, on a 5555 tour. The little clip here you saw in the beginning of our live stream here today. And you were a big part of why we were so successful onboarding the people, because you helped us with this, exciting location. People in your location got informed about HEX. People from the outside saw what we are all doing, and it was a lot of fun. So today we want to talk about PulseBitcoin and how you want to change the world with this now, and tell everybody a little bit about all your efforts that you are doing with this new exciting ecosystem that we have in front of us.
Awesome. Hey, well, first off, I just want to say it's really great to see you. It has been 2 years since I last saw your face, man. So great to be on here. Happy to share some news today. I got the rest of the team here, Fat Sammy and Pulse Dojo. They're going to drop some alpha for you guys today. But, we're still Hexicans. Most of us, I think all of us still have stakes. Like, that will never go away. Like, we understand that ecosystem. It's a great group of people, and we will always be a part of that. But I found a side chick in the bear market. There's nothing wrong with having a couple extra side hustles going on with diversity. And I picked the community. That's really what I picked. It's not about necessarily price go up or down. We literally know that will happen over time with the right community. And I think that's what we have here today. So I'm excited for you guys to meet some of these guys.
Yeah, the only reason I'm here is because of HEX. The only reason why I found out about Pulse Doge, I turned on Matty Allen's stream when he was doing his Pulse conference. I mean, I can't even remember how many months ago that was. I think that might have been back in like July or something. But I just turned it on, and Gunther was on stream talking about something called Pulse Dogecoin, and I just instantly rolled my eyes. I'm just like, I don't know about this, buddy boy. And then he said, hey, there's a free claim. And I look at my stakes. I was pretty early into HEX. I got a good staking ladder. I'm in it for 15 years. And I'm like, hey, this is worth some money. Okay, let me take a look at this, because what I did, I didn't make any money off any meme coins in the last cycle. And I got resentful about it. And, I'm like, why is this stuff going up? Why do people care about these stupid coins? It's not real, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? I didn't make any money. And so I'm kind of like, you know what? Next time, I'm not going to make the same mistake. And I guarantee you this, man, there's going to be a #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain, whether Hexicans and Richard Hart like it or not. If you can either have it be this one and be something that's Hexican friendly and that was given to Hexicans for free, or somebody else can come and eat your lunch. And, this isn't necessarily talking about Pulse Bitcoin. This is purely about Pulse Doge. But that's why I'm here. Everything kind of started with Pulse Doge because we didn't know Pulse Bitcoin was going to exist when Pulse Doge first came out.
Well, you said no matter if Hexicans or Richard Hart like it or not, and I think you have a little bit of a wrong view here, because look at all of 4 of us. We are all Hexicans. We all love Pulse Dogecoin. We all love Pulse Bitcoin. All the other Hexicans are like this as well. You maybe find 1 or 2 voices, that are critical. Obviously, you always have that, but I have the feeling the majority really likes the ecosystem. And you know what? You even have Richard Hart saying that Pulse Dogecoin is the best meme coin in the Pulse chain ecosystem. So we have that going on for us as well. Fatsemi, how about you? You are a Hexican as well. And where did you find your love for PulseBitcoin?
Well, before I talk about PulseBitcoin, I just saw that video you started with Zombie Miner there. I've never seen that before, where he's talking about how we got into Hex, and it's actually interesting because I've met Pulse Dojo in real life, and he told me about his story with Hex. I know all three of you are actually Hex OGs. Well, when I say Hex OGs, you bought into Hex and actually experienced that exciting ride up, right? Yeah. I was to give a bit of backstory, I got into crypto just after the 2017 Bitcoin dump, right? And I spent a lot of time. So I came aware of Bitcoin like properly. I had heard about it in the past, but I became aware of it when I used to watch skateboarding videos. I used to be a skateboarder, and in 2017, and I remember everyone and his mother was talking about Bitcoin. So I remember, it had that run up to, was it $18,000? I remember around the $14,000, everyone was buying it. It was everywhere. Everyone was buying Bitcoin. And I remember thinking, because I had a little bit of experience in traditional markets, I remember thinking, I'm not going to buy it now because I feel like it's topped out. I missed out on, maybe if I did get in, I would have made an extra couple of grand, but I most probably would have got wrecked. I'll get some feedback there. Sure. But anyway, so I kind of waited for the dip. I got into Bitcoin in early 2018, January of 2018. And I remember buying it around $3,000. And I wasn't really aware of the market cycles at the time. I didn't really understand that. But I remember being in Bitcoin when it was ultimate FUD. Everyone's saying it's wrecked, it's destroyed, it's gone, everyone's ruined. And I just started DCA into that. And I actually got into leverage trading. And I think, as Zombie Miner said in that video, it's when you first get into crypto, there's so many sharks out there. There's so many scams. Even if you get into Bitcoin, even if you didn't get into some sort of pyramid, shitcoin, pump and dump, even if you're in Bitcoin, I got into leverage trading. I did okay with it because I had a background in trading, so I kind of understood it. But I kind of managed. I stupidly didn't show patience, right? I didn't hold what I had. I had a lot of Bitcoin. I didn't hold it because I was looking for the next shiny thing. I was looking to try and make stupid trades, massive X's, and I got impatient and I kind of wrecked myself. If I had just kept what I originally had, because I knew it would go up, I ended up selling maybe 10% of my bag when it went up to 50 plus K. All I had to do was sit my hands and do nothing, right? And I learned that lesson. So now going into this next run, I was lucky enough to just by chance hear about Richard Hart very late. So the reason for this long drawn out story is I'm actually what we call a second wave Hexican. I'm a Hexican that only found out about Richard Hart in January of 2021. But what he was saying was groundbreaking. It really was. So I kind of have become a localized community leader for onboarding on Hex. So we've onboarded people, from the 25 cent mark and down. And it's been a tough journey. And then eventually during that point, I kind of learned the crypto cycles, but it's been rewarding nonetheless. A lot of us have gone into Hex. And we've set out nice long stakes. It's the ultimate, how would you say, time deposit. It's the ultimate time deposit on the blockchain. So I've got stakes running out for 15 years, back to 2 years, 1 year. Some I had my first stake actually come up, and that's great. But I think the reason I got into Pulse Doge, I remember so there was a lot of, at the time, they were trying to get a lot of people, everyone was excited about Pulse Chain, a new exciting system, right? So there's so many people being encouraged to create new projects on the Pulse Chain. Everyone was excited for it before it was coming out last year. So I got airdrops, like many airdrops. I got airdrops for some of my stakes, and it was this thing called Pulse Doge. And like some of the guys said here, I got that. It was nice. It was a decent amount, a few $100, and I dumped it and I bought more Hex. And then I later regretted it because I heard Hex Info on a couple of his streams, and he started talking about tokenomics. He started talking about the idea of really limited supply, keeping things really rare. And I just kind of took advantage of it. It was a way for me. So let's say I had some of my onboards, right? I got them in large amounts of money at 20 cents on Hex. And eventually they were down quite a bit. But, I reassured them that they're fine, because obviously they've got long stakes. They'll be absolutely fine. I'm sure Hex will be in the multiple dollars in no time at all. With the copy and pulse chain, it's just even better. But I wanted to make the money in the short term. So once I realized the potential of PLSD, the 6.4 or 2 million supply, I can't remember the total cap, some of it being given away to the HEX OA account, as a homage and as a pair of respect. I liked that. But it just held its value, and it went up 10x during the bear market. I think it was launched at $1. I think we went up to $9. But it was just a beautiful chart. I love TA. I managed to ride that thing up to $3, managed to sell it at $1, moving up to $5, managed to sell it at $2. It was just a great, I 10x my bag. I bought my position back, did a 10x. I've got loads more economic energy now. All those people that don't understand this crypto space that I got to buy HEX, I've managed to, everything they lost during that bear market buying that 20-cent HEX, I've managed to make their money back with this ecosystem. So it's been a really positive thing. So I don't know what to say. I'll stop talking there, but that's my journey and how I got here.
Well, a lot to unpack here, for sure. And you know what? I know that Zombie Miner has a lot of exciting news to share, but let's keep that for a little bit later. You guys are convinced that HEX gonna be a success, PulseChain is gonna be a success, Pulse Dogecoin, Pulse Bitcoin as well. And I would like to point out today, why is that? Why do we know the success is waiting for us? And why are we in such a great situation where we have the innovation in front of us, but it's not out yet? Now we have the time to prepare. Now we have the time to park our financial energy somewhere, if it's HEX, if it's Pulse Bitcoin, but we are then ready. And I would just like to point out what are the most important things for cryptocurrency prices to go up. And this is only one specific thing, and this is when people buy. When a cryptocurrency finds adoption through a good leader, through a community, only then the prices can rise. So I saw that really early in HEX, that we had the best founder, that we had the best community, and now out of the HEX community, the HEX info community emerged. And this is for me the number one reason why I like the community here with Pulse Bitcoin, ASIC, Pulse Dogecoin so much, because I know they are all Hexicans. I know they understand the principle of buying and holding long term. And I want to ask you guys, what are some of the things that you like the most about this new ecosystem that we are in now?
Well, if I could start off here, before we get to that part, regarding onboarding. So in my civilian life, I'm connected to pretty much the music world. And I have had an opportunity to get in front of some really famous artists, among others, race car drivers, other stuff like that. And, I've onboarded some of them into HEX, and those same people I've also onboarded onto Pulse Bitcoin because they've done well with HEX, and so they entrusted me. And I just feel like, the reason I love the HEX info ecosystem, especially for onboarding, is that it's very simplistic. There's not a whole lot to explain. It's, you buy this, you hit this button, and now you're mining free yield. So that part aside, I think there's also numerous amounts of pumpamentals in this thing. With having the 3-coin ecosystem, they feed off each other in many different ways. And now with these developers creating other stuff that we'll talk about at the end of the stream, you really don't have to go anywhere else. Get your HEX stake, get your ladder together, get some ASIC and mine some Pulse Bitcoin, and get some PLSD because it's super rare. The supply has literally been cut in half, if more. I think it went from 6 million, Sammy, or Pulse Dojo, to like 2.6 million. And
we had a 55% burn on the original total amount, and then you've also got to count the amount that was given to the HEX OA account, and then minus the HEX, the Pulse Doge BA account. So the actual supply of Pulse Doge is very limited.
And they're not done yet. Like I've been hearing further developments of more burning mechanisms for this thing. So, if you don't own a little bit, get exposed. What do you got to lose?
Yeah. So should we just tell people, for any new viewers that might stumble across this space, should we just say what the hell Pulse Doge is, what ASIC is, what Pulse Bitcoin is?
Break it down.
Zombie. Do you want to take that?
Sure. I'll let Pulse Dojo talk about Doge because he absolutely loves it. I'm personally an ASIC guy because, I originally mined for real, where I went out and bought, the video cards and everything that you needed. It ended up costing me like 10 grand or something at the time that I purchased it. And I was probably making around $400 a month or something like that after electricity costs. I even went solar to try to cut down on that. And it was just, you know, I felt like I was scraping pennies. It just, for me, it was like all the work involved in my hot ass basement, like the amount of like heat those things put out in summer, it was just ridiculous. So I kind of, once Ethereum went to proof of stake, I stopped mining altogether, sold my mining equipment, and then I stumbled across ASIC. I did own PLSD at the time, but I stumbled across ASIC and heard that, hey, I could transform some of my PLSD, which, you know, sorry guys for that love it. I didn't love it at the time. For me, it was a dump token because I didn't understand it. You know, I understood HEX, and here, you know, I was down on HEX and I got free money. What did you think I was going to do with it? So I basically I just didn't respect it, and so I ended up transforming a lot of it and into ASIC, and it was, I think, the best decision I've ever made because it got me further into this rabbit hole of this ecosystem. And mining PulseBitcoin, especially before the first halving, has been very lucrative. I mean, 7.5% monthly.
Just on that point, right? There's so many Pulse chain projects, right, out there, and many of them have asked you to sacrifice for them. We call them promise coins, right? One good thing about this ecosystem is all HEX stakers were actually rewarded with tokens. And the way they're rewarded, it wasn't like Hedron, not throwing any shade on any other coins, but what we saw in other allocations of Pulse chain projects, number one, you had sacrifice, or number two, you were allocated based on being a whale or a shark already, and you were given more tokens. So all it really did was carbon copied the large holders. So it didn't really give much room for new users to come in and get a large position in a new product. So when PulseDoge came out, it had a really fair distribution system where it actually rewarded the middle size holders, so dolphins, crabs, and whatnot. So if you were a dolphin at the time, don't quote me on this, I think you were given 750 PulseDoge. And if you then held that and then transformed it into ASIC, which was 5-to-1 at the time of transformation, you were essentially given $17,000 worth of free airdrop. So just let that sink in. So all the hate you might get, it's a free airdrop. Richard Hart always talked about the free money. Free money doesn't exist. And you say, well, it does, you know, because he free airdropped to Bitcoiners. So any Bitcoiners that held their free airdrop and accumulated, they got a chance to be a HEX OG. It's the same thing here. So, you know, fair distribution is a really key thing. Limited supply. So what are we doing here? What are we really here for? We're looking forward to Pulse Chain. And what will we see when Pulse Chain comes out? We're going to see some popular tokens. We're going to see Pulse. We're going to see PulseX. We're going to see HEX. We're going to see maybe liquid loans when that comes out. We're going to see probably PulseBitcoin, Pulse Doge, because we've got Paul Pleb as well, but we're going to see a couple of meme tokens there that really got adoption. I would say Pulse Doge would be the premium. You've got Paul Pleb. You're going to have, where's the store of value token? Well, we argue there might be Pulse Bitcoin. So you're really positioning yourself in a good way. Where's the liquidity going to be when Pulse Chain comes out? You're really positioning yourself where you can really kind of experience the Pulse Chain and PulseX to the maximum kind of what it's designed for, right? It's all about onboarding. It's all about bringing new users into this space. And new users are going to look at their tokens, any ERC20 they have, they're going to want to check it out on PulseX. The same way when we had ETH Fair, we had ETH Proof of Work, hard fought. What did people do? All the Hexicans went over and checked their coins. What do they have over there? Well, unfortunately, there was no liquidity. With tokens like this, with active communities like we have, people can get a carbon copy and they're going to seek value on the Pulse Chain. Because, I mean, when we were trading 6 months ago, all our community was having so much fun. ETH exchanges were like a couple of bucks. And even now, we saw that price pump with ETH. And what we're saying, man, with Zen, with all these other protocols going on, we're seeing like $40 for an exchange. It's getting ridiculous. So if you've got economic energy and a community that wants to wants to kind of create and grow on ETH, then PulseChain is the place to be. And we're onboarding all sorts of people. So people I couldn't onboard into Hex, for example, they just saw Richard Hart and they just didn't like him. You know, some people just didn't like him. I almost remember onboarding people into Hex for the tech, and then they'd see a live stream and they wouldn't like the guy. You know, they just didn't kind of like, their personality clashed with his type of personality. So whatever the tokenomics of Hex, they just didn't like it because it's run by a front man. And one thing we like about our ecosystem, like Satoshi, it's kind of, Hex Info is kind of behind the scenes. We don't want PulseBitcoin or Pulse Doge to be kind of represented by a single person, which people might not like. So yeah, it's just a fresh opportunity to kind of to get involved in something where there's no personality behind it, and it's a new way of onboarding people that might know about Bitcoin, their established brands, or Doge. Well, we're just doing it better. That's all it is. And I think the economic energy that we bring into this Pulse chain, if you take the economic energy we've taken out of people DCAing into Hex and buying our products, we honestly believe that will come back tenfold into Pulse chain. So PHEX will fly, Pulse will fly, PulseX will fly. All my onboards who I didn't get into Hex, they bought some Pulse Doge. The first thing they're asking me after a few months is, oh, so what's this Pulse chain thing? What's this Hex thing? So they get some Pulse Doge, then they get some Hex, then eventually they're stacking their bags up ready to get into Pulse and PulseX. So yeah, we are the onboarding token on the Pulse chain system, and I defy anyone to argue with me on that point.
I think you said it really, really good. And, you know, with Richard Hart, he is for me the strongest point why I would onboard somebody to Hex. If you follow Richard Hart, you will be successful in crypto. But there are also other people that just think they know it all, and they look at Hex, they look at Richard Hart, and they get scared. You know, they get scared of the product, they get scared of his outraged marketing and all of these things. And that's where we then can come in and tell them, hey, look, there is ASICs, there's Dogecoin that is probably not as scary for you. And then people buy this narrative. And if I'm able to onboard the people into cryptocurrency with no admin keys, with no middleman, where you can earn passive income, this is exactly what I want. And this is why I like PulseBitcoin so much, because now I can feed the people another narrative and still onboard them in a really, really good ecosystem where I know they will be successful. Because of the reasons that you just mentioned, when PulseChain comes out, we now have the Hex ecosystem that definitely will have little liquidity. There will be enough liquidity for everybody to do their things, but will it be as much liquidity as Hex? No. And this is actually a great thing, because now you can come into this ecosystem and you know, by having this little liquidity, there's huge price potential for these coins there, and maybe even more than Hex. It's crazy that if I say it out loud, but it's totally possible, especially since Pulse Dogecoin is such a rare meme coin. And I think Pulse Dojo wants to talk about that a little bit more. What is your favorite thing about Pulse Dogecoin? Why did you buy into this asset? Why do you help promoting it so much?
For me, the biggest thing was seeing my mistakes in the previous cycle. SHIB wiped the floor with most things. You know, Hex and SHIB had pretty similar gains. There was more liquidity for SHIB, so people got rich off both. But I'm telling you what, man, like, you don't want to get resentful about missing out on things. I got kind of resentful about these stupid dog coins doing so well, and I kind of realized, you know what, like, this is a narrative. This is a meme. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. This stupid stuff isn't going to go away. People like it. It is what it is. Why not just say, hey, we can do that too? Because what you said about price being the great unifier, and I think the narrative is really going to switch when PulseChain happens, man. Because, you know, there's some people who just think you should only buy Hex, and that's a fair strategy. You'll do very well if you only buy Hex. But there's some people who want other types of things, and I think in the ideal scenario, the scenario where PulseChain does the best, you're going to get hundreds of thousands of people onboarded to the chain who don't participate in Hex. You're going to have nobody needs to be forced to buy Hex or PulseX or anything else. You just want volume on the chain. There's going to be some people who come in and maybe they're only interested in a stupid meme coin. Maybe they're only interested in this new Bitcoin. Maybe they're only interested in doing rebase tokens that Hexicans typically don't like. It doesn't matter what they're doing. All that matters is that they're doing it on PulseChain, which creates volume. And the only thing that matters on PulseX is the buy and burn. So if people are trading on PulseX, no matter what they're trading, if you hate what they're trading, if you think they suck, it doesn't matter. If they're creating volume on PulseX, guess what? The PulseX price is going up. PulseX doing more volume is the only thing that matters. It's going to be the narrative switch from the infighting, not that everybody's infighting, but there's a little bit of infighting and people like their bags and they defend their bags. But once Pulse Chain is up, PulseX is going to be the banner that everyone rallies behind. You're going to want people on Pulse Chain doing all these things. Like I said, there's going to be some #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain. If it's going to be some other person that we don't know about, some other community that comes in and kind of steals the show, well, I don't think that'd be good. I think it's better to get ahead of the game, kind of be right there waiting to dominate the meme coin narrative. And the meme coin narrative is completely different than what Richard's doing with HEX and PLS and PLSX, and that's fine. Yeah, man, like we just all need to kind of recognize that there's all these different interests that people have in crypto, and we need to be supportive of every single type of person on Pulse Chain.
Yeah, on that point, we talk a lot about kind of keeping people in an ecosphere. So it's like if you imagine you're in Las Vegas, right, and you open a bar and it's called HEX, and that bar gets really popular. Richard Hart he's now building a casino, and that's called the Pulse Chain Casino. And yes, the HEX bar will be in the Pulse Chain Casino, but why do casinos do so well? Well, they have their Chinese restaurant, they have their Indian restaurant, they have their craps tables, they have the hotels where people stay. So Pulse Chain really needs to be a living and breathing ecosystem. It has to keep the market within the space. So, and that's what we're trying to do on a smaller level with the HEX ecosystem. We've got our meme token there, so you can have fun with that if you're someone who wants to trade up and down price pumps, And then we have a virtual mining, software mining, which is revolutionary in its own way, so you can earn yield. Then we have our store of value, and we have a Pulse Litecoin, which is coming out, which we all speculate on what we don't know it is. But then that whole ecosphere is within another ecosphere within the Pulse Chain Casino, So we're trying to keep that economic energy in our ecosphere, the same way that Pulse Chain is going to do the same thing, and that's the way I think people got to look at it.
Yeah, and I would say, Abit, to touch on all those coins that are coming over there. At the end of the day, we're Pulsicans. Let's be honest. I don't know if you guys sacrificed. I did. And even if you didn't sacrifice, I think most people will be trading over on Pulse Chain versus the Ethereum network just because of fees. And so, like Pulse Dojo said, let the hate fizzle out, man. Like we're literally onboarding people that are not Hexicans on a daily basis. The country of India, we have businessmen over there that are onboarding other businessmen at these like big meetups where they're doing full PowerPoint presentations. Like these are not like plebs of India. These are like money guys in India that are coming on board. And, Gunther has helped a lot with that. So, maybe if you have a bad taste for some of the faces that you see over here, they did what they had to do. I mean, think about it. Like we're in this to make money. So if you bought low and you have a chance to sell the top, why wouldn't you try to do that, and take that money and buy the bottom somewhere else? And that's all that Gunther did. And he's now here kind of helping us build this thing. And every single person that you see here today is pushing some sort of effort for an onboarding. You got Sammy's doing the live streams. He's like our leader in the live stream category. I got involved with doing meetups just like we do with HEX. We actually have one coming up in West Palm Beach that I'll talk about soon. And you got Pulse Dojo, who this is his first live stream. He wants to get out there, and I love back in 2020, 2021, seeing all these Hexican live streamers emerge that came from nowhere. They just had a passion for something and they had to talk about it. And so, Abit, you came from that. I watched you from the bottom and now you're here. Like, I've watched a lot of guys do that. And those are the communities that I want to put my investment into, straight up.
And the community, for sure, the number one reason why I am here, I like the community of the Hex Info ecosystem. And I know that this is needed in order to bring adoption. And I think the PulseBitcoin ecosystem does it better than almost any other crypto community, because you are, engaged with the Telegram, with the Twitter spaces. You are like, helping each other out. We had 10 people here before the show even started, and this is because you were making so much noise, and exactly this is needed in order to bring new people in. And this is the only thing that Price cares about. All the other people in crypto, they're afraid to talk about that. But, we as Hexicans or Hex Info community, we do that really openly, and we just tell that how it is, right? And the reason why we are doing it is because we want to bring the people into an ecosystem where they can make life-changing wealth. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, onboarding. That's what it all comes down to, a bit, right?
Exactly. And when it comes to onboarding, I have a question here by Access Alive. A little bit critical, of course, but that's okay to do. What if the meme coin narrative is dead with the last cycle and the AI narrative is the real one next cycle? How are we going to get ahead of the AI narrative? Well, the AI narrative is a hard one for every single cryptocurrency. What are you going to do against AI? We can basically not do anything. But luckily, the only thing that matters is the people buying the coin, and we are onboarding into cryptocurrency. So, the marketing that those AI firms may be doing, I think, will be outperformed by the onboarding the Hexicans or the Hex Eco Info system is doing actually.
Can I actually touch on that, and coming from a perspective of a business owner? So when I got into one of my businesses, you guys came to my service company where we actually work on cars. But I actually own a retail chain of 8 stores right now. Since I last saw you, we actually did this in 2 years. And I had a lot of my mentors come to me and say that, oh, brick and mortar's dead. Everyone's shopping online. Like you're going to go out of business, because everyone can just go online. And I was like, no, because remember when we had the COVID lockdown and we couldn't go out and shop and do all those things that we're so used to doing, that we took advantage of? We just really didn't appreciate it until we lost it. Remember when they said, hey, guess what? You can go out and shop again. So what did people do? They went out to the brick and mortars. Why? Because it's the experience. They get to deal with real people in a real marketplace and do all that stuff. And with our communities, the Hex community, our community, these are real people, right? There's a real community behind this. This is not a massive AI campaign that's all digital using algorithms and other shit to touch people. That's different. It's much easier to onboard people when you know that person, when you trust that person, when you like that person, right? And I feel that will never go away. So, why is there still classic cars, man? There's a group of people that will always love that, and it just won't go away.
Yeah, and about classic cars, right? Why are classic cars going up in value? My dad collects them.
There you
because
go.
There's limited supply of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they have more people that want to buy them. So what have we got with this ecosystem? We've got Bitcoin. Everyone knows Bitcoin. Even no coiners know Bitcoin. We've got Dogecoin. Even any idiot knows what Dogecoin is. They have any rough idea of what it is. So that's half the conversation out the way, right? All you're then doing is saying, this is why we're doing a better version of each. So that's half of the onboarding conversation out the way. And it's simple as that. And then when you couple that with extreme limited supply, so we don't even have to, even though our tokenomics are so great and our branding is great, so it's easy for us to onboard, we don't even have to try as hard as everyone else. If you buy Pulse Dogecoin, there's tens of thousands of tokens being printed every hour. If you look at Bitcoin,
You mean actual Dogecoin? You said
yeah, not Pulse.
Actual, sorry, yes. Traditional Dogecoin, there are thousands of tokens being printed every minute, so it's hyperinflationary, right? So all that's relying on is an Elon Musk tweet, right? So we've gone the extreme opposite of that. We've gone into a total restriction of supply and maybe possible burns in the future. And then you look at Bitcoin, right? So we're going to have eventually the same supply as Bitcoin. We're going to lock ourselves in at 21 million maximum supply. But the headwind is so much more reduced. So if you mine Bitcoin in the traditional sense, right, you have to buy hardware, ASIC hardware, and then you have to mine it. And your negative, like running a business, right, your energy costs are probably very high. Your hardware costs are very high. You have to maintain the products. You can have all sorts of you got rent for the building, all sorts of things that cost you money. So most likely, especially in the West, that's why most of these mining operations are going out of business, and the ones that aren't are going over to Africa. You're going to have to sell 90% of your Bitcoin that you're actually mining to sell off, right? Just to maintain your costs, and maybe you might scoop up a 5% profit, 10% profit, whatever it is. So that negative sell pressure from the mining community is just pushing down the price. And we don't have that with ASIC token because we're using software mining. There's actual no cost, no physical cost to you. So, and what we're now seeing is, so think about this. We've had a third-party developer create something called PLSB lock. And we're actually at a point now where we have 11.3%. Let's say that again. 11.3% of all PLSB is now locked up. And you might say, oh, that's great. You know, what's the staking mechanism? What's the ROI? What's the payback they're getting from that? Zero. They're getting nothing back from that. This is just volunteer based. This is our whales and our sharks and our breadcrumbers locking up their PLSB to save themselves from themselves. This is the ultimate store of value. We're the only token where 11% of our supply is locked up because people have faith in the product. PLSB will never have a staking function, especially not from the centralized Hex Info ecosystem. There may be third-party stuff built on it, but we're guaranteed.
About that, sir.
No, PulseBitcoin is a finished product. It's a store of value. It's a store of value. And we're seeing that because 11.3% of the supply is now locked up.
Yeah, and to add to that, that supply that's locked, the average lockup time is 7 years. So we're like brand new. I think Hex is probably about that 6 or 7 years, I think, is the average stake time right now. Our longest stake, I mean, there's a lot of them, are 10,000 days. So that's insane. But that just shows you the conviction that these people have. And a lot of them are whales that are doing this type of behavior. So, if within a couple months that this has existed, to have 11% of the supply already locked up, it's just making this much harder to sell, right? It doesn't exist in the supply.
Zombie, tell them about the mining period, how our mining periods work, and what's coming up there.
Yeah, so first off, I want to say that all three of the coins are disinflationary and deflationary. So they have a limited supply, and many of them have some sort of burning mechanism, some more than others, right? Pulse Doge definitely had a large burn. ASIC has a burn mechanism to it as well. So every time you do your 30-day mining instance, you have a small fee. It's a very small percentage that then gets paid to the contract and into a dead wallet, right? So it's basically a burning mechanism in that aspect. And then you have PulseBitcoin, which also is, again, disinflationary and deflationary. The deflationary aspect comes from people that, basically allow their miner to go over an additional 30 days once it's supposed to end, right? So similar to Hex, where you get penalized if you let it sit there and it bleeds out. Same thing happens with this, except someone can actually swoop in and get your whatever you had mined, right? It's open to whomever can get to it first after that 30-day delay, right? So 30 days, your miner ends, you forget about it, another 30 days goes by, and it's available that someone can go in and just scoop up all of your mined tokens. And I think, A, that keeps people on their toes, but B, there's a lot of people that forget. And so all that stuff will either get burned or scooped up. And I think yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just to clarify. So yeah, after your miner ends, you have a 30-day grace period, which is 60 days from when the miner started. So after that grace period elapses, the PulseBitcoin gets sent to the Ethereum dead address that so many projects use to burn, right? So the PulseBitcoin, 100% of the PulseBitcoin that was mined is lost forever to the Ethereum dead address. You can still get 50% of your ASIC back if you run the good accounting function. So everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but in HEX, there's a good accounting function that you can run, and anybody can run it on anybody's stake, that returns the T shares, so they're not just a black hole that's sucking interest that nobody can actually get. So we have a similar good accounting function. Anyone can run it for anybody else. So what that does, it eliminates the PulseBitcoin. Nobody can ever get it. And then 50% of the ASIC can still be retrieved. So whoever runs that good accounting function will get half of that 50% of the ASIC. So that means that if you run it yourself, you get the full 50% of the ASIC. 50% of the ASIC is going to be lost forever. If you run your own good accounting function on your own miner, you'll get the other 50%. If someone else runs it, they'll get 25%, if that makes sense. So, yeah, the PulseBitcoin, though, is lost no matter what if you go over the grace period. So just
And
want
then
to
also there's the fact that people just, forget about their keys.
Yeah.
They will seriously have PulseBitcoin in their wallet, but they will lose their keys. And this is just another aspect how PulseBitcoin will get more rare over time. And I think it's great that you brought up the whole system, how to stake it, how much you earn with your ASICs, because the question was, what is if the meme narrative is dead one day? And this is exactly the point. I think PulseBitcoin ASIC, this is not only a meme. Here you can actually create value by locking up your ASIC and then getting PulseBitcoin. And I think what we can do is go here to the mine section of PulseBitcoin, and here we see how easy it is. All you have to do is put in the amount of ASICs that you want to stake for 30 days. And here you see how many rewards you get paid out in PulseBitcoin. You also see what is the current fee, for example, and then right away it will tell you how much PulseBitcoin you will earn after those 30 days, and will also tell you the fees. And now if you're here on this page and you see all of this, then it's becoming really clear what is happening here. You get paid the reward in PulseBitcoin to 7.5% on your ASICs, how many you stake. And then the fee here becomes really clear as well. How ASIC is actually deflationary. Like it inflates a little bit more because yes, we have ATM tokens that people can create ASICs from, but over the time, over the course of time, there will be more and more ASICs burned because there is this fee here. So with this, I want to point out, it's not just a meme, it is also a token with great tokenomics that will then act as pump-mentors in the future, where the price will go up because of that.
Scroll down a little bit and you can actually see there's 168,000 ASIC that have already been burned in only 4 months. We've only had 4 mining events. So, and you can see we're at what, 61% until the first halvening, where the mining rewards get cut in half. So, if anyone knows anything about Bitcoin, the halvenings are what really dictate the bull runs. And, that I don't say that we're going to kick off the entire bull run market, but we'll at least kick off maybe our own bull run within our ecosystem. And so just pay attention to that stuff. You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines. If you got some extra change laying around, throw it in, see what happens.
Yeah, and if you're going after yield, right? If you're a yield maxi, then you can buy the ASIC token, right? And that's actually kind of, I think it came out around $1, and it's pretty much $1 now. So you've had, when did it come out, guys? Was it November? Can't remember exactly.
Yeah, somewhere around then.
But basically, you've had 4 months, right? You've held your value in that token, and you've had 4 months of 7.5% yield. Now, I'm sure many of you have seen yield programs before, right? During a bear market. So show me another coin where the yield you're getting paid in, right? You were getting $3 for the first month, $2.50 for the second month, and now we're pretty much going sideways at $1, right? So for a dump token, everyone calls a yield token with no. So PulseBitcoin has got nothing else going on for it after, apart from third-party stuff in the future, and apart from the halving coming up, adding value psychologically. But at the moment, it's technically a dump token, right? It's the end of the line in this ecosphere. But what you're seeing is 11.3% locked up, and you're seeing for the last month we've bounce of $1, bounce of $1. We're holding that value. So some people who are short-sighted, yeah, they're earning a wage. You could get 1,000 ASIC, and you'd be getting 75 Bitcoin as a wage a month, right? So some people in our ecosphere, they're earning like a quarter or half of what they're getting from their monthly jobs. But but you're not seeing the price dump. It's stabilizing at $1. And what's coming up? So our halving periods, right? Our halving periods aren't like Bitcoin where it's a matter of years. It's a matter of once half of the supply has been mined, we'll then go to halving 1.
So it's about average like 4 to 6 months is what we're seeing so far.
Yeah. So what's coming up in May is you're going to get your first halving period. So now the clever people are racing to lock in that last 2 months of 7.5% yield. And what do you think is going to happen? What do you guys think is going to happen in a sideways market when 50% of the supply gets taken out of the market? Do you think that token's still going to be at $1 when you've reduced 50% of the sell pressure? I don't know. What do you think?
It's going to be really, really exciting. It's always an experiment. We have something in crypto that's called buy the rumors, sell the news. So I'm anticipating there will be a dump, but then later on, once it really catches up to the people that now there's less PulseBitcoin to be earned, yes, I definitely see a spike when it comes to that as well in the future.
So I will say that the developers are aware of these narratives of, dumps and pumps and dumps and buy the news, sell the rumor type of things. And so they're just constantly creating value, other reasons to hold on to these coins, whether it be staking mechanisms that USCG Vet is putting together. I will talk about PulseBitcoin Locks thing here very soon. He messaged me some stuff. But then you have Hex Info creating Pulse Litecoin here eventually, which will require ASIC, right? So you would think that, okay, people are going to dump their ASIC and buy Pulse Bitcoin, because realistically, what you can mine per month, it's just better to take the cost of the ASIC and buy the Bitcoin outright, right? You're going to get more Pulse Bitcoin if that's your end game. If your end game is to accrue Pulse Bitcoin, then you would just buy Pulse Bitcoin and not mine. But our developers are smarter than that, and they know that people would do that. And so they gave you reasons to hold on to the ASIC because it's going to be mining other things. And it has, there's a lot of things being built around it right now. And the other thing is too, how like the airdrop was always a way to kind of get the best communities to open their eyes to a new project. Well, think about ASIC being used to mine coins of a new project that aren't even a part of our community, that are not part of our ecosystem, but they can use that code to mine their tokens. And, there's a lot of those plays, especially once we get to Pulse Chain, where it's just a big melting pot. So again, there's no reason to sell any of these coins. Like, these guys are constantly creating things so that you hold the value and just bring new money into the ecosystem.
We're getting DMs, I would say, every couple of weeks. We're getting DMs of people creating white papers and asking us what we think. I don't think people understand, for the amount of wallet holders we have, the amount of stuff like websites being built in the background, other front ends, third-party NFT projects, third-party lock and yield projects, dividend giving projects, charity-based projects. There's so much stuff. I get DM'd once a week with a new white paper, just based on this ecosphere. And if it gets through the net, we throw up the line. And if it gets through the net, it's thrown up the line. And this Pulse Bitcoin lock, what's really excited me about this is that it's clear from the Twitter analysis, Pulse Bitcoin lock has been retweeted and publicly supported by our main and centralized dev Hex Info. So whatever kind of rewards being paid there, it's got the kind of golden seal of approval from our developer. This isn't something that's come left of field that might knock off what he's doing in the future. This looks like it's going to work hand in hand with what he's doing. It's just so exciting.
And you just mentioned Litecoin, Pulse Litecoin. You also mentioned Pulse Lock. These are the things that we will talk about really, really shortly. I see more and more people coming in. They are interested. And I just want to talk about 2 more points, and then we can go on to the exciting news here. So here we have the transform PLSD lobby. Basically, it's not possible anymore to transform your PLSD into ASICs, but it was so successful. 56% of all global PLSD were burned. We had the total supply from 6 million coins. Now it's only like 3.4 2.9 million coins, something like this. So really, really successful. And I want to ask you guys, how much did you burn? Because I almost burned everything. And I think a lot of Hex Info people did too.
Yeah. I think all of us are, maybe except for Pulse Dojo, are guilty of burning all of our Pulse Dojo.
Which is not a bad thing. It's a good
No,
thing.
because look, we know what I'm doing. I'm buying it back. I'm bringing new money into the ecosystem, and I'm buying back Pulse Doge right now at a very great price, because I know that there's things on the horizon that are going to require that coin, and I want to get in now, because we're going to see some FOMO here real soon, and I don't want to be the guy buying, 2x from here.
I was I always formulate plans, man, and then when the heat of the moment happens, I completely change. So what I had planned on doing was burning 60% of my Pulse Doge, and then keeping the 40%. But as soon as it went live on October 20th, I just said, you know what, just go ahead and burn 80%. I burnt 80% of my Pulse Doge for ASIC, started mining immediately. I've never sold any of these 3 tokens, but what I did, so initially when I found out about Pulse Doge, it was through the free claim, and I free claimed a decent amount because I was pretty early into Hex. And then when I actually started buying it, I didn't start buying Pulse Doge till it was $7. I started buying it at $7. I bought it all the way up to $9 when it had its first big rise, and then it dumped down to like what, 265. So to me, I burnt the more expensive coins that I bought. So now when I'm buying back, I caught like right at $3 a couple weeks ago. I've been buying the past week and a half. I haven't bought back what I've burned yet, but I'm averaging down because I bought it much higher. So now I'm even that much happier to buy it back because I know that I'm getting a better deal than I originally did. So I burnt more, I keep saying that I'm more into Pulse Doge than this other stuff, even though I burnt 80%, because, that's just what my brain told me to do. I don't know why. I just did it. And I like to participate in all facets, man. If any project I like has a couple different angles to play it, you have to play every angle, because the one that hits the biggest sometimes can just mop the floor with the other way. So I never want to miss out, and that's my philosophy.
How about you, Sammy? How much did you burn?
It's funny actually, because I was having a midlife crisis when I realized I had to burn my Pulse Doge. So I was really uncomfortable about the whole situation, because what was interesting, Hex Info didn't release any information to any of the admins or any of the people behind the scenes. He didn't drop anything. I think we were given 48-hour notice before what was happening was released, and it was pretty much, I think we were given literally less than 24 hours. It was like, right, guys, burn your precious. So this thing you've loved and fallen in love with, we call him Reggie, our favorite doggy. So we'd all fallen in love with this doggy, right? It was the most limited thing. We'd all been spieling and onboarding for 6 months about it. We'd all made hideous amounts of money. We're all so happy about it. And then suddenly he comes out of nowhere and is like, yeah, take the dog behind the shed, get the shotgun out, tell him you love him, and then shoot him in the head, right? So I couldn't do it. I love my doggy. It's like, could you imagine shooting that beautiful dog? Look, he made a tweet and he said, I have a feeling, this is before he released, he said, I have a feeling that the token holders will burn something like 70%. And then a week later, they'll burn 80%. Then a week later, they'll burn 100%. And it's so funny. I remember reading that and thinking, nah, man, I think I went with 70%, like he said. And then about 4 days later, I spoke to my lady and I was like, do you know what? She was holding more in the Pulse Doge. She only went 50. I went, I think 80 or something by that point. I was like, look, I really think I've got to go more. And then I went 95% in the end. Well, probably 97%. And and now with all the new protocols coming out, I haven't got many doggies. And now we've got a possible V2 coming out for Pulse Doge. Maybe another burn, who knows? So I am now actively trying to reaccumulate my Pulse Doge position.
Absolutely.
I love this topic so much. I don't get to talk about this too much, but here is the last segment that I want to talk about, the ASIC token miner. Obviously, you cannot create ATMs anymore, but people had create ATMs in the past, and I still hold on to my ATMs. How about you guys? Are you still holding ATM points?
Absolutely.
100%. So a lot of people use the ATM feature to just buy into ASIC, because what you could do, it was a zero slippage way to buy as much ASIC as you wanted at $1. Technically, you could have spent $1 billion USDC and got $1 billion ASIC, and the contract would have printed you that much. Now, obviously, that didn't happen. As you can see on the page there, it says global redeemed ATM points, 3.8 million. That means the 3.8 million ASIC tokens at the time, which were valued at $1. Well, it's still $1. That's how many were actually redeemed that way. So the vast majority of ATMs got redeemed day one because people just used it as a way to get into ASIC. Personally, I didn't do that. I got my initial ASIC position by burning my Pulse Doge, and all my ATMs, I created several. I plan on holding for a long time. I think after the first halving, as you can see right there, there's 2,331, and no new ones can be created. I think at least 50% of those are going to get burned at the first halving, if not day one. You know, the first couple days when people realize the halving happened, they're going to be very rare. I think I'm speculating personally that there's going to be some utility for them in the future, not just the underlying ASIC value, but just having the ATM is going to have some type of value. So I'm holding on to mine for a long time. Because for me, it's a long-term speculative play.
And maybe you can explain as well why you hold on a long time on your ATM points, because we have a question here from PLSD Thailand. Think the ATM after every halving, you're able to mine double more. And that is exactly what it is, right? Like current ATM multiplier is 1x, but if you wait after the first halving, there should be a 2x here. And then after every halving, there's a multiplier on that as well.
And this is the game. This is the gamification of the whole process, right? You've heard three of us talk about our different asset distribution, right? We talked about the price of ASIC, the speculation on what PulseBitcoin might have, and what development PulseBitcoin might have, and what development ASIC might have. And then we get guys at Pulse Dojo who are stronger and more have conviction in the meme token side, right? And what future development might happen there. And then you've got the ATM thing, right? So the ATM. Most people FOMO'd into ASIC, right, to gather up that 5 to 6 months worth of 7.5% yield to get a chance to be an OG in the first halving to get that Pulse Bitcoin. But then some people, you know, who are clever, I didn't do it. I didn't have enough capital at the time, but I wish I did. Some people have bought those ATMs, and what they're getting that 1x. So if you had 1,000 ASIC, right, and then you wait to the next halving, you have 2,000 ASIC. And then what might happen? So everyone's ASICs become half power, but then you're coming in with fresh power, right? And then there may be something like Pulse Litecoin, in which you might be able to mine at a higher rate. So what you're seeing here is constant competition between ASIC and Pulse Bitcoin. Constant competition between all those three. So all the tokens are competing against each other. It creates a healthy narrative, right? So I think that's what's so bullish about this whole ecosystem. Again, go back to the casino aspect. As soon as you get bored of spending your money over there, you walk over there and you spend your money over there, but you're in the same ecosphere. This is the gamification which we're talking about.
Absolutely.
What are the exciting things that you brought to us today, Zombie Miner? I know you want to talk about Pulse Bitcoin Lock, and I have the site, the Twitter site of Pulse Bitcoin Lock here right now to show to the people, and maybe this is leading us to the next aspect.
You want me to read it? Because he actually, he told me he was going to give me the info first, but we didn't release it. So now he released it, which is cool. Right. Maybe many of you haven't.
Zombie, do you want to quickly, 1 minute, just tell people what Pulse Bitcoin Lock is, just so in case they don't know, before you give the update?
Absolutely. So basically you go to pulsebitcoinlock.app, and it's an opportunity to lock up your Pulse Bitcoin for as long as you want to. Again, there's no reward on this. This is more of just kind of having conviction in the ecosystem. You can pick or create whatever NFT you want for it. There's a lot of really cool. Matter of fact, Abid, if you could go to that website and just look at some of these NFTs, you're going to see the passion of the community. There's people that put these in there.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have to connect to your wallet before you can actually view the NFT.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we can't see that today, but if you guys want to go check it out, go look at what some of these people are making their NFTs. It's really heart touching. There's people that are doing it for their grandkids. They're creating NFTs for There's younger kids that are like, hey, this is for my college fund in 5 years. You know, it's really cool to kind of see what people are putting behind their lockup. No, there you go. So, and you can see, of course, Gunther, you know, leading the charge. Wow, he is absolutely locked up a lot of PulseBitcoin.
Please tell us about what happened there. What did Gunther do here? Because he had no incentive basically to do that, because you just said locking up here on PulseBitcoin lock.
It's called putting your money where your mouth is.
100%. He is convicted in this community. He sees what we're doing. You know, it's not just all on his back, right? Just like Hex, it's not on Richard's back. It's on everyone else's back. He's done most of his job already. And same thing with Gunther. He led the charge. And now the rest of us are picking up the pieces. But he has proven to people that he is here to stay. This is not a dump token. It's not a pump and dump like a lot of us thought with Hedron and all these other things where you got a bad taste for Gunther. He's here. This is his last hurrah. And
and just before Zombie Miner goes on to some of the exclusive content about some of the developments with the Pulse Lock dev. So again, just to recap, 11.3% of this is locked up. A lot of that is just our whales in our system, just showing you further that they're in this for the long term, right? So they're locking up a lot of their paper gains for the long term to show conviction, right? That they're not going anywhere. That's why we promote kind of our faces being shown on here. You know, if this is a pump and dump, we'll have to go into hiding after, right? And I don't plan on doing that. I know Zombie doesn't either. He's got a business to run. So we're all real people putting our money where our mouth is here. So that's one cool thing about Pulse Lock, you know, without the extra utility that might come in the future. The second cool thing is it's a really cool onboarding tool. Like, so we're getting people that are, so say you got a friend, right? And you send them some hex in the past. And what do? They sell that hex for a few $100. So this, you can give someone some PulseBitcoin, like my buddy. Like whenever we out for dinner now, we have a deal, right? Because he can't be trusted. He's got lettuce hands, right? Spaghetti hands. So every time we go out for dinner now, he pays for it, and I send him the PulseBitcoin value, and I send it to him in an NFT. So you can give this for a Valentine's present, for a gift for a friend. You can create a custom picture on there and just gift it for someone. But you're not just giving them the asset; you're locking it up. And the best thing about it is you're giving them $100 now, but then say it unlocks on their next birthday. Just imagine the value that's going to be and how much amazing storytelling ability that's going to be. So imagine you give them $100 now and it's worth $2,000 in a year's time. They're going to tell everyone about that present they got, whether it be a Christmas present, what it is, you know.
Let me add something real quick there too. There's a really cool, and I honestly don't know if this was intentionally designed or not, but you can make these NFTs transferable or non-transferable. So if they're non-transferable, they cannot leave your wallet. So if you lock up one PulseBitcoin for 10 years, it's going to be stuck in your wallet for 10 years, and there's no possibility that it's going to move. So what that means is if you get hacked, typically what a hacker is going to do, and unfortunately we've seen this with Hex, a hacker will immediately unstake all your Hex. Even if they get barely anything, they still nuke all your stakes, and you know, you're screwed. With this, a hacker would get everything else in your wallet, but the PulseBitcoin NFT they couldn't touch. Now the hacker could sit there for 10 years and wait, and then once it's due, he could try to steal your PulseBitcoin, but the odds of that happening are probably pretty low. So it's kind of an emergent security property to where your PulseBitcoin actually can't be withdrawn from your wallet. If you make it transferable, then anyone can transfer it. You can move it from wallet to wallet. And like Sammy said, if you wanted to donate someone 100 PulseBitcoin and wanted to make sure they held it for 10 years, you lock it for 10 years, and then you can transfer it to their wallet. And it can still move between wallets, but it can't actually, you can't take the PulseBitcoin out until the 10-year lock is gone. And you choose any time frame, obviously.
And look for how long people are locking up their PulseBitcoin. We have here 15,000 days. We have Matty all in. I assume it's a picture of him, 11,000 days. And it's also non-transferable. Like you said, it's can be a security, you know, to level up your security, basically, to make sure these funds are not leaving the wallet for a long time.
Also, this is not the only abilities to do NFTs linked to PulseBitcoin. So we have another group of developers. I mean, I feel like everyone in here is a developer except for me. But basically, they have hyperchimp.club. If you want to pull that website up, it's gorgeous. But CR is one of our guys in our camp. He's a genius with graphic design, developing whatever, website design, anything digitally related. But he teamed up with a renowned cartoon artist by the name of Jimmy's Russell. That is his pen name. And basically what they did is they're creating a collection which will be launched here very shortly. I think they said somewhere by the end of March, maybe early April, where they're hand drawing these NFT collections that will have 100 Pulse Bitcoin attached to it. And it will be unlocked, right? So like you don't have to, if you want to just buy it and trade it, cool, you can do that. You want to hold it, even better. But they're putting together a timeless collection of hand-drawn stuff, and it's really cool NFTs. So if you guys get a chance, go on there, play around, and see what they have to offer. CR is also creating a website similar to hexnoob.com, which, Abit, have you ever been on that website, hexnoob.com?
Oh yeah, hundreds of times.
Okay, great. So you know how fucking, excuse my French, how awesome it is. And so we're doing something similar to that, where you're going to have all the streamers connected. You'll have all the news connected. Pretty much anything that you'll ever need if you're a holder in this ecosystem will be on that website, and that should be here launched. They haven't created the domain name for it yet. It is being built offline, but that should be launched here before too long as well. So again, there's just people just constantly creating stuff that require these tokens to function. And so I'm super bullish on this ecosystem. I don't think I could ever get bored in here. There's just too much going on.
Let's go back to Pulse Bitcoin Lock, because you said you had some exciting things to share.
Let's do that juicy news, David.
All right. So, well, here, why don't we just, I'll read his tweets here because he basically kind of covered most of it in that. So basically, the project has multiple parts, 7 smart contracts, all together with an eighth contract that following in about a month or two after launch. Currently, he's telling me that the launch will be before the end of March, right? So that's not far away, guys. The end of March. Get what you need, what's a part of this ecosystem. So everything will be fully audited. Everything he does is audited. Pulse Bitcoin Lock, that what we just looked at is audited. So all of that will be taken care of. But each of the contract works in tandem with the rest, right? So it's a giant ecosystem in itself. And it's an opportunity to earn passive income, passive yield on PLSB, PLSD, ASIC, and HEX, right? So that he's actually building something on top of HEX as well, which I think is phenomenal. And they're all designed to pump the prices of those coins, every last one of them.
I didn't know that about the HEX. That's amazing.
Yeah. So he says there's some short-term and long-term strategies, some risky and some not so risky, right? So you have the opportunity. If you just want to put it in something a little safer, you may get a little less yield, or you can put it in something a little more volatile. He says he's not going to release all the details, of course, because he's still working on it. But his game plan is that he has a contract relating to staking PLSD, which I think is awesome, right? Now you have something to do with your doggies. He has a contract that's related to the ASIC miner. He's pretty general on what that has to do with. I mean, I would love to get more details on that particular thing. He's also creating a contract for rewarding people that have locked up their Pulse Bitcoin on that NFT site that you just saw. So they'll actually be rewarded for holding, which is great. And then he's creating some buy and burn contracts, which, as we mentioned, these are already burning tokens. So now we're piling on different layers to just really burn through this supply as quick as possible. It's very masochistic in this community. We like to burn stuff. The other 3 contracts, which you'll read about in the white paper, he says, will also be released early to mid-March, depending on the audit completion, right? So we don't want to rush anything, of course. But basically, he's saying in a nutshell, he's borrowed and revamped some of his favorite ideas within the HEX community, Icosa, Maximus, PulseX, and in his opinion, he thinks he's made them extra exciting, and so that our community has a very bright future ahead of it.
That sounds amazing. I cannot wait. And it's so soon into the future, mid-May,
Well, that's just him
mid-March. I mean,
too. That's just him. Hex Info is building some cool stuff. USCG Vet has some stuff he's building. These are all going to launch, and it's like, I don't even know. Like, it's going to be so interesting to watch what happens in the next couple months.
So just a couple more months where you can actually mine for 7.5% in ASIC token, where it's kind of bottoming out right now. You got an opportunity to buy ASIC at the price it was pretty much launched. Fair enough, you've missed out on 3 or 4 months of 7.5% rewards, but you can get in now and scoop up the last 2 months of 7.5% rewards, and you can be pretty reassured looking at a chart, if you do TA, that we've bottomed out. So even if ASIC keeps going sideways, I don't think it will, but if it does, fine. You're still earning 7.5%, keeping your capital and earning 7.5% in an asset where what happens at the end of that 2 months, right? ABIT talks about buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay. We might see the market a month before cost in that halvening, and we might see a pump. But what I'd say is load up the Bitcoin chart and see what happened in the first halving there, and that's what we look to. It's the same mathematics. We're actually growing at a faster rate, believe it or not. We have more fundamentals. That's why we do draw people's attention to Bitcoin. Yes, we're not the only products on the market. That's the advantage that PulseBitcoin has. But we've been running some calculations, right? And when we bring the chart up and look at it compared to the first halving period, even if we minus our growth by 100%, sorry, 100x, not 100%, 100x, we're still showing massive potential. It's just it's unbelievable, really.
Well, the other thing is too is that our Bitcoin is definanced. So like it's the DeFi aspect of that, especially with the temperature of everything going on right now with these central exchanges just wrecking people left and right. People are losing faith in dealing with those companies, and so being able to get right into DeFi with these coins, and again being an ERC20 on top of that, I'm super bullish on Ethereum over Bitcoin all day. I think that you can build more stuff. Of course, you can build more stuff on it. And so I really see PulseBitcoin being the future store of value. Absolutely.
I think that's also one of the most important things for me, that cryptocurrencies was intended to be inclusive. Everybody was, in the ideal, able to mine Bitcoin in the early days, and also to send, receive. But this has gone away. Nowadays, to mine Bitcoin, it's basically not possible for the normal human being. But now we are bringing it back with the ASICs, with software mining. Now everybody can, again, mine PulseBitcoin in the early days, be part of something that is growing, a vibrant community. I mean, we are proving that here right now, 50 people watching. We were just reading out PulseBitcoin log and the exciting news that he has to share. We were also talking about HEX Info, how he's bringing out Pulse Litecoin. So a lot of exciting news to come in the future.
You want to hear something else kind of funny, gross, and cool at the same time?
Yeah, please.
So I think just for fun, like Gunther put a contest out there for 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin, and one of our
the third load of 10,000.
Yeah. He's done this numerous times. He's done it for content creation in India. He's done it for this particular thing, and I think there was one other occurrence.
What was the thing? Because the third thing he did was did really somebody eat a spider?
The first one was for creating content, right? So it was a month project where get out there, make some content, and he gave away 10,000 Pulse Bitcoin, right? I think we were all amazed by the amount of content that was created. I think every one of us here created some. You yourself, Abit, made some amazing stuff. So my whole channel basically runs off all that amazing stuff that was produced in that 1 month of concentration. That's when we saw the price of ASIC go up 4x. It was unbelievable. There's so much content coming out. It was the atmosphere was electric. So he created that. We got a load of content, and that's what kind of established our growth. The second competition, which is still running, it's about to close soon, is Onboard India. So he's actually broken that prize down into 3 prizes to kind of get the Indian community, to get people outside of the kind of white West with money. Actually, what is Bitcoin? If we are the next Bitcoin, then we need to engage with the world, not just kind of an elite group of kind of people who can pontificate with their money. No, he wants to literally go for countries where they use cryptocurrency a lot, but aren't necessarily engaged with DeFi. So that prize will be given out soon, and we're seeing a massive growth in the Indian community. The third prize, Zombie.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
so
It's crazy.
and so DCA_Hex is his Twitter handle. He's an old time Hexican. You guys will probably recognize his face. But he has went above and beyond to do this contest, and he's actually donating 5,000 of it to some cause, I believe. We'll get more details on that. But he's literally going to eat a live tarantula on the PulseBitcoin channel, the YouTube channel. And so what's the date on that, Sammy? February 28th?
Well, some of us disagree with it. Some of us might not like it, but this is the diversification we're going for, right? So we're talking about altruistic onboarding India, soon to onboard Africa, by the way. Hashtag no expectations. But then we're also having fun with this. And now we're challenging someone. Well, Wolverine he's challenging someone to eat a tarantula live on air, but they have to enjoy it as well. So we're just having fun here, you know. And yes, this is outrage marketing. So we're taking a leaf out of RH's book, and we're doing some outrage marketing.
And the funny story is to this situation. So he ordered the first one, and he posted his receipt online showing that he had it, you know, being delivered. And someone, whoever it was that loves spiders, actually called the pet store and said, "Hey, this guy is actually going to eat this thing." And here's the Twitter messages proving that. And they're like, "Oh no!" So they canceled his order. They actually canceled his first order. And then so he ordered another one from a different company, and he got a box, and it was empty. They literally sold him an empty box. So he's really just trying to find the juiciest thing that he can eat right now, actually. So,
and he better enjoy it, because
he has to enjoy it. The funny thing is that he actually watched videos on how to do it, because this is quite a dangerous thing. Like, there's a lot of foreign cultures that do this type of shit, I guess. And so he's been watching these videos on how to ingest this live venomous creature.
Well, I wish him all of luck that he needs in order to do that stunt. I hope to see it live. Then when he does it, you guys definitely have to do a lot of advertisements, so we bring a lot of eyes to this specific event.
We'll probably get to see it.
Hey, I just DM'd you on Telegram the work in progress thumbnail for that. So it's pretty funny if you want to pop it up.
All right, let me see. Yep, here we go. I will download that really quick, and then I can share that with you guys.
Hey, Abid, is there anyone in the chat that has any questions needed to be answered or anything? I haven't really been paying attention to that. I apologize.
Actually, me neither. I have not looked into the chat here because I was showing so many things. But if you guys have any questions, now is your time to drop them into the chat. Or also, if you're re-watching this video later on, drop the question into the comments section below, and then I will take care of that later on as well. But if you have a question now for the guys, put them into the chat and we will address them right away. And what I'm doing here right now is opening up the thumbnail that Sammy has just sent me. I just need like one more second, and then I'm good.
While you guys download that, I want to talk about the next meetup, if you don't mind.
Please.
So this is actually my personal meetup, which, I mean, Abit, you went to mine. We don't pull any stops, man. We had good drinks there, a DJ, some sexy cars, some cool people. It was a great time. There was a lot of people from the community there too. I got to meet Wales for the first time, among others. I think Kareem was there. Of course, you and Patrick were there. It was a really cool opportunity to meet these faces. And the same thing's going to be happening at our meetup, our PulseBitcoin meetup. There's going to be a lot of guys there that you recognize for sure. But it's going to be in West Palm Beach. We're going to be doing them all over the place. So, you know, if you can't make this one, don't feel bad. We absolutely are going to localize these meetups, because Sammy actually got the community today to start organizing Telegram chats based on regions, right? So we'll have, like, by state, the PulseBitcoin Pennsylvania chat, right? Where guys can literally get together, meet up, and plan events in a localized fashion. But this event is going to be March 18th. It's actually piggybacking the grand opening of another location of my stores. And so we're gonna have DJs, music. We'll have drinks there, food, all that fun stuff. And you know me, Abit, I'm a car guy, so there will be a ton of sexy cars there. So if you guys have something cool, drive it out. If not, bring a camera to take some cool pictures. But we're gonna do this meetup among lots of other ones. I see there's a lot of cool people in this community, and they're very social. So I think it's gonna be a great time to unify and get to meet some of these faces.
So I went through a little bit through the chat here. I found something that is interesting that I think everybody here on stream can help with and has some different opinion as well. And this is that, what is the wallet you recommend? I definitely recommend using a hardware wallet like Ledger or Trezor. And just lately, I made up my mind what is my most favorite. It's definitely Trezor. How is it for you guys?
I have a Ledger. Papa Boner kind of talked to me personally about the differences and stuff, and I had already bought the Ledger, so yeah, I should have got the Trezor, but it does the job. It's secure and it's better than nothing. Having just a hot wallet, it's not okay anymore. We had a guy that just got hacked, 40,000 ASIC. He lost 40,000 ASIC a couple days back. You can see it in the chart. It definitely took a dip. And he lost it because he had a keylogger. Someone put a keylogger on his computer through a torrent that he downloaded, creating PulseBitcoin content. He was downloading this really cool graphic tool, and he got a keylogger, and they remote accessed his computer. They turned it on, accessed his team viewer, and then got into his MetaMask and literally sold it right in front of his eyes. He couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't pull it out quick enough.
Crazy.
So yeah, right there, you got to have a hardware wallet. And, more importantly, don't interact with things that you see pop up as airdrops that you don't know about. Like, do some research before you start interacting with some of these contracts. The hackers are getting smarter, and they are targeting, it seems, they're targeting a lot of our community. Between Hexicans and this community, there's always some scam out there, fake websites, fake Telegram chats. Like, be very careful. If you guys aren't sure that something's for real, drop into Telegram or reach out to someone in the community and just ask them before you make any decisions.
Yeah, it's funny you said it, 'cause just before we move on, the question there, I just noticed the name in the chat. That's actually someone I met in real life, Brad. Thanks for coming in. I didn't see you there before and asking that question. Brad's someone that has experience with crypto, but he's not really in DeFi yet. So I think the way our community has seen that question, we've looked at that from a security point of view, and we've said, right, you need to back up your hardware. But I think the question he's actually asking there from a new onboard, someone who has Bitcoin on centralized exchange, is actually saying, he's maybe got a wallet. Maybe it's not a MetaMask wallet that integrates with ERC20s. So I would say if you have Bitcoin and you have it on centralized exchange, and maybe you have some other wallets, Trust Wallet, for example, where you're holding it, you've done the first step of taking it off the exchange, and that's great. But if you want to integrate with HEX, if you want to integrate with PulseBitcoin, then really we recommend, at the moment, there's other products coming out, but at the moment we recommend MetaMask. MetaMask is the way that you can really integrate with a private wallet and kind of do all the things you want to do on the Ethereum network. So MetaMask is the play there. Obviously, we recommend, if you're working with more than $1,000, is to back it up with a hardware device. You can get one of those for $60. If anyone has any problems with that, you can jump onto the Hex Token Discord. We do weekly workshops telling you how to improve your security. You can go check out Papa Boner. He has many videos on how to do that. You can jump into our Telegram, PulseBitcoin Telegram. So yeah, if you're working more than $1,000 and you're new to MetaMask, definitely upgrade it. It might take half an hour for you to sit down with someone and install it, but then your money's secure at least. So yeah, MetaMask is the way to go. Internet Money, KD, he has a great product coming out soon. I'm sure you guys have spoke to him on the channel a bit. They have a great product coming soon. Richard Hart might have his own wallet coming out soon. So these are all kind of hot wallets, but they're wallets that are better on the market.
And we have Satoshi Nakamoto here saying MetaMask for sure, but only when you integrate it with a hardware wallet, ledger, or Trezor. And that's exactly the point. You need MetaMask to connect to all the dApps, right? If you want to stake your HEX or your ASICs, you need MetaMask in order to do that. But you should integrate your hardware wallet, import it, I think it's called, into your MetaMask. And then what I like to do is I have a seed for everything that I'm doing. My HEX is on one seed phrase, my ASIC miner is on another seed phrase, my sacrifices, for example, are another seed phrase. So every single purpose has its own seed phrase, and this is just how I like to do it.
I'm just seeing some feedback there in the chat from Brad. He says, yes, I have the ledger. I'm not fond of MetaMask. Well, yeah, I understand that. That's what we're talking about, right? MetaMask is a hot wallet. It's a live wallet, so it is open to hacking. So what we're talking about is you bring the adaptability and almost the openness of MetaMask and what it lets you do to integrate with the market, but then you lock in that ledger with it. So you have the security. So you have a safe within the MetaMask. So yeah, Brad, reach out to me and we'll set that up for you.
Pulse Dojo, you were saying something, brother? I'm sorry, man.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, I personally use a ledger and I use it with MetaMask. I've heard very, very good things about Trezor. I think if I was going to buy a new one, I'd buy a Trezor just based off feedback from people I respect. But people need to understand an ETH address is an ETH address. Like if you're using MetaMask, you're not like bound to that, right? Your seed words are your seed words. And it's not really a matter of your wallet, quote unquote, being this or that wallet. It's kind of more involved than that. You're not bound to that necessarily. You can use a ledger with your existing seed words that you created years ago if you buy a new hardware wallet.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have the picture, the thumbnail in works live 10K PLSB challenge, attempt eating a live tarantula plus weekly crypto update, host Fed Sammy. So I'm excited when that's going to go on. I hope very, very soon. And of course, the guy also has to enjoy eating the tarantula. So
he has to enjoy it. He doesn't get the money. If he spits it out and that's disgusted, he's not getting the money. I'm sorry.
That's hilarious. I love it.
All right, guys. So you guys in the chat, the very, very last chance to ask a question, because I see somebody saying here, I have a question for Zombie Miner, but he did not ask the question yet. So very last chance. In a couple of minutes, we will end the stream and you guys have a last chance to ask a question. Is there anything that you guys would like to point out right now? What is exciting for you? Is there some message that you want to share with the people? Zombie Miner, maybe start.
Sure. So my message would be that, if you guys are kind of figuring out if you want to join our community, tune into our live streams. Sammy's doing these every Saturday. You sticking to Saturdays, Sammy, right? I know you did Sunday last week.
I'm floating around. We'll see.
Okay.
But once a week, yeah.
So we're building our content creators, right? So I'm going to start streaming here very soon. Hopefully I can get Pulse Dojo to maybe join me on some of those. But we're trying to grow that. And my goal is that we're just trying to create more content for a very rapidly growing community. We are not stopping. All of us are hustlers and we're holders, right? Like the majority of the people in this community are holders. What you're seeing in the charts right now are pump chasers, right? And that's okay. Like, what happens when you give free tokens to Hexicans and then Hex pump the price pumps? Of course, they're going to go buy some Hex. But the thing is that what you're seeing right now at the $1 mark is the core audience, right? The people that aren't going anywhere. And so if you get in now, this is what I think is our bottom, especially with all the news coming up. I would have to say that no financial advice, but I would have to say that in a couple to a few months, your bags are going to look real good if you buy right now.
And people are asking for links. If you go here into the video description and you scroll down, here you will find all the links that are needed to follow up on the stream here today. And somebody was asking even about the Telegram group, because I think that's a really important place to go, because that's where the whole community is. And here we have t.me/PulseBitcoin, the official Telegram group, where you can learn everything about the things that we were talking about here today.
Hey, but can I add to that Telegram thing? So we have about 9,500 members in there right now. The cool thing is that our voice chat, which is pretty much open almost 24 hours a day, is pumping. There is always at least 20 some people in there, and it's just cool. Like you get in there and you're gonna hear alpha from someone. Like people just pop in, and we talked about recording it because there's just so much good information in there, but it's freestyle. Right, like the conversations that just pop up. I mean, you can't recreate them at all. So,
and also we welcome maximum FUD. We welcome maximum FUD.
Yeah.
So give us your best FUD before we leave. And if you don't manage to get it in this and you're watching the repeat, come into the Telegram and give us the reason we're going to fail, and then sit there and you'll leave with a change of mind. I'll tell you that much.
We're totally transparent.
And we see everybody loving the open talks on Telegram. We see pumping alpha 24/7, and I've just been there myself before this stream, and I saw people talking, just about recent activities and so on. And I think it's great for everybody to join Telegram. And whenever you have a question, what is the fee on ASICs? How much PulseBitcoin do I gonna earn? You go into the Telegram, and there's always 24/7 somebody who can answer the question. So I really like the idea of having this service in the Telegram. It's perfect.
And Abit, can I just say thank you so much for your effort. It's been amazing. It's been a boost for all of us, for Hexicans to become Pulsicans, because that's essentially what we're talking about. And we really appreciate you making the leap to support
Of course,
us.
man. Thank you so much for these words. This is really motivating me to do even more. And the most important thing for me is that we bring the people to crypto and tell them about the most important things, about the first principle, self-custody, no admin keys, no middleman, and so on. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
100%. The voice chat especially. So when I came into the community, I had my free claim, and then I came into the voice chat, and that's what really brought me into this community. Shout out to Pepe. He was the one who organized the Tampa meetup. He's been a champion of the voice chat, and that's what made me fall in love with this. And it was the same story for me with Hex in early 2020. It was the people, the community, the stat sites. Shout outs to hex.live. I know it's like staker.app now, but dude, back in the day, hex.live, that was my favorite Hex website. So yeah, man. And my closing remarks, the last thing I want to say is Hex Info created this stuff. Remember the movie Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come. Hex Info made this code. We have nothing to do with Hex Info. I have no idea who he is. He's done 2 streams that I know of, Crypto Heartbeat, and the other one he did, this was like when it first launched back in April, and he was also on with Vibra Finance. So you can hear his voice, you can hear him on some live streams, but he made code, and we liked the code and liked the projects, and here we are. No one paid us or anybody else to do this. This is 100% community involvement. I haven't even seen Hex Info post on Telegram like in a while. He's active on Twitter still. He used to come into the Telegram chat a bit more. I think he's kind of head down doing work, but it doesn't matter. We are the community. He made the code. We don't need him to do pump and dumps and do marketing to make the price go up so we can just bail. This is 100% organic community, and I've met these people in real life.
We're having so much fun over here. We're having so much fun.
Yeah, totally.
Honestly, guys, just jump in, talk about what the hell you like. We're having so much. We're firing on all cylinders. There's so much going on without the development. We've got, as Zombie said, groups popping up all over the place. You want to see meetups all over the world. It's going to be amazing as we go into our next halving.
So much fun. And while we have so much fun, we also get rich, because Pulse Dogecoin was the most successful airdrop to Hexicans, I would say, like the most valuable one. Then ASIC just skyrocketed in the bear market, leaving all the haters with tears. They could not believe what was going on. And now we have this vibrant community doing meetups, doing live streams, Telegram. We have everything. I think it's going to be amazing. And then, PulseChain is not even out yet. Just imagine PulseChain coming out, and we have this new ecosystem where all the eyes are on our ecosystem. We
can't wait for our tokens to be in the top 10 most traded PulseX projects. We're so looking forward to that.
That's actually a really good argument. I've not even thought about that, because
we're already on that, the Pulse hot list. PulseBitcoin network. I think we're 8. We're just below PulseX.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
So I don't see any more questions in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. It was really fun to talk to you. I will now give the last words to you guys, and then I will finish up the show, and hope to see you very soon back when we have more exciting news to share. Pulse Dojo, why don't you finish up? Like, do you have some last words for the people out there, something that you really want them to know before we end the stream?
I just want everybody to win together. On Pulse Chain, the narrative is going to be 100% about volume on Pulse Chain. There's going to be a #1 meme coin on Pulse Chain. We don't know what that is. We hope that it's Pulse Dogecoin. The #1 savings account on Pulse Chain, I already know what that is, and that's called HEX. Ain't nobody about to dethrone HEX as far as certificate of deposit on the blockchain. We need to cover every narrative that people are going to want to participate with on Pulse Chain. If you don't like meme coins, I'm right there with you. I did not like them. I kind of had to eat crow. I learned my lesson. But we need to capture every crypto narrative on Pulse Chain. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. We need the volume. We need to be supportive of every type of degen community that you may or may not care about. We all want to win together. We all want the volume to go through PulseX. We are heads down onboarding into Pulse Chain for non-Hexicans. Hexicans are already onboarded into Pulse Chain. That's great. We love it. I'm a Hexican for life, 15-year staked in 2020. But we need new people. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get people that may or may not be interested in Hex or Richard Hart for whatever reason. But hey, we've got this new network coming. We want you over there. We're onboarding everybody.
How about you, Fat Sammy? Last words to the viewers. What do they need to know?
I was thinking in my head about giving some long drawn-out speech and giving some bullet points, but I'm not going to do it. This is an intelligence test, all right? It's an intelligence test. That's it.
Some people understand it. Some people were smart enough to burn their dogs and have their ASICs mine PulseBitcoin. How about you, Zombie Miner, the last words?
Hey, just stay tuned. Just watch. Get your popcorn. This place is going to pop off, and I'm excited. So DCA in and get ready for this ride.
But thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being in the chat. I hope you had a lot of value. If you did, please like and subscribe. And then I see you in the next episode, which is probably going to be tomorrow when I talk about something like why is Richard Hart making us all rich? And I will give a lot of proof why this will happen. Well, thank you guys for being here. I will now play the outro.
Thank you.
If you could live forever, would you?
Yes.
Okay, we're
Don't
done
even
on the
have to
interview.
finish the sentence.
Yes. No. Okay. Sure. That's an attractive idea, but the way I look at it is the knowledge that I'm going to die that creates the focus that I bring to being alive. The urgency of accomplishment. The need to express love now, not later. If we live forever, why ever even get out of bed in the morning? Because you always have tomorrow. That's not the kind of life I want to lead.
But why don't you fear not being around?
I fear living a life where I could have accomplished something and didn't. That's what I fear. I don't fear death.
You don't fear the unknown.
I love the unknown. I love the. You know what I want on my tombstone? My sister has this in her notes, just in case I can't tell anyone after I die. On my tombstone, a quote from Horace Mann, great educator. Be ashamed to die until you have scored some victory for humanity.